I'm here with Jason, and we are going to work through a corrective exercise continuum for tennis elbow. Jason, your elbow hurts
Ow.
very badly. What did you do to it?
I played tennis.
You also could have been gardening, painting, or doing a whole range of other things. You do not currently have tennis elbow, that is correct?
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of this stuff is going to be a little bit theoretical, especially when it comes to feeling out trigger points and stuff, but we will work through it. If you had in fact had tennis elbow, we would have of course wanted to make sure that you had talked to a physician, that the physician had cleared you for exercise, and so on. That being said, we can also prevent tennis elbow by making sure that the muscles are as well balanced as they can be, and that we're aware of needing to strengthen muscles that might be a little bit under-strengthened. Now, one of the interesting things about tennis elbow is that it can, tennis elbow happens on the lateral epicondyle, and golfer's elbow, which is kind of the complement to it, happens in the medial epicondyle of the elbow, right? What was interesting is in my research, I found out that often these conditions can coexist with each other because muscle imbalances will play into each other and actually aggravate both areas. And so even in the NASM materials, they don't necessarily distinguish that much between how to correct one versus the other. A lot of it just depends on where you have different results in your assessments, right? So if you had an assessment where you had some limited range of motion and flexibility with, I don't know, a shoulder at extension or something, then it would indicate one way or another what muscles are impacted by that assessment, right? So we're going to go through and we're going to presume that on our assessment we had muscular imbalances that indicated that both the lateral and medial epicondyles were at risk because of muscle imbalances. And we know that the worst case scenario is that you're not going to do a whole lot of good by doing SMR techniques on muscles that aren't inhibited, but you're also not going to do any bad. So it's not going to hurt it, it is just going to not particularly help. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So the first step is the inhibition step, and that is when we put those pressure points, we put some pressure onto the pressure points, holding it for 30 seconds, breathing into it, and trying to let that contracted muscle release itself out, right? There is, in the book, they tell us that we can do this by palpating really, really easily. I've tried to get in there and really kind of feel my arm and feel around, and sometimes I can get into that point relatively easily. Right now I can definitely feel what's happening in my bicep, for example, because I just finished doing strength training on my bicep. But I also found resources that indicated that you can foam roll it. So we've got a bit of options in there. And we'll look at those really quickly as well. So first things first, we're going to kind of feel around on our arm and see if we can't find any of those trigger points, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to, let's pick an arm. Which arm is at risk right now? Let's pick that arm. Okay, so I want you to feel around in this area. You're just going to kind of gently palpate the muscle, okay? And see if you can feel anything that's tight or feeling kind of sore when you press down on it, getting some pressure. So I can feel right here the connection. I can feel in here, down here into my bicep, but those pressure points will move throughout the muscle, right? So it's not always going to be at exactly the same spot, even though there are specific trigger points on it, okay? So let's start by feeling that upper complex a little bit into shoulder, going into the biceps brachii. Okay, and feeling even down into the bicep area. Do you feel anything in there?
Yeah,
Right in there? Okay. Let's press into that. We're going to hold it. And when you're ready, you can release that. Awesome. Kind of stretched out. Does it feel different to you at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? Yeah. Okay. And we're going to move our way down into our extensor and flexor complexes. Okay, so up on the top here, into the side. Anything in terms of that?
Yeah, right there.
Right there? Okay. This one's one of my favorites because you can feel it really every time you flex. All right, we'll release that, Jason. And let's flip over and see if we can't get into the upper part here as well. Anything in terms of that? Palpating, I find palpating my way down, starting kind of up within the muscle belly and working my way down. And so I feel it right here, right?
Okay.
You feel that? Yeah, okay, right there. So let's hold that as well. But I'm just going to really quickly show you the techniques that were given in the book for foam rolling these areas as well. I find that easier because the foam roller just covers more surface area than my fingers do, and so it picks up on things that my fingers might accidentally miss. Right? If you're systematic about it and you're used to it, then it's probably not as much of a problem. It may be a little bit more challenging for us because we don't necessarily have these imbalances in our body, right? I don't know about you, but my golf game is not on par. Haha, see what I did there? Okay, let it go. So the book that I've been using is the Trigger Point Therapy foam roller book, and it tells us that we can use the foam roller for virtually everything in our body. What I like to do is, if I'm doing my biceps, I like to use a table or something that's elevated kind of like this so that I can maintain a relatively decent back positioning and not be completely hunched over it, right? So getting into it with the foam roller, see, I feel it right there. And that was much easier for me to find with this. And you can kind of move around and feel what's comfortable for you if you've got a table positioning that's at an appropriate height. Okay, so I'll let you get into that. You can see if you can feel your bicep there. And then same thing for the forearms, right? Underneath and over top, putting the extensors and the flexors, same kind of idea, just working through them. But I find that the surface area of the foam roller gives me a better indication of where my inhibitory targets lie. So bring even closer to me, maybe. There you go. Right there. Some people will use tennis balls, or I've seen people use golf balls. I can't use golf balls because they leave bruises on me. And then there's different techniques for getting into this. What's really important to remember when you're doing SMR, you can release that, Jason, is that you're not just wanting to constantly roll over, right? So you'll see people at the gym doing this, and that feels nice. It's a good massage, but it's not going to do what you want to do. You want to actually find that spot, stay there, add some pressure if you're able to tolerate it, and really get deep into the muscle, forcing that inhibition to release itself, right? Creating that contractile force that it ultimately will dissipate outwards. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Then let's move on to some static stretching. Because we're dealing with extensor and flexor muscles and muscles that would be coming out of an injury, I guess is the best way of kind of putting it. We don't want to get super, super deep into things that have been injured, right? You want to go to an appropriate range of motion. So I often see people will push down in this fashion or in this fashion. But when you're just kind of starting out, I would actually just recommend holding the position like this for 30 seconds, and that will give you enough of a stretch. You don't necessarily need to artificially push into that, these are not joints of the body that are meant to have a huge range of motion. There's really no need for your fingers to touch your forearm at any point, right? So I'm gonna get you to stand with me. I'm gonna take that arm that we're playing with, it's this one here? Okay, and we're going to, turn so that the top of your hand is facing straight down. Let's roll our shoulders back, nice straight back alignment. I'm gonna fix our camera angle. Okay, do you feel that stretch?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way up the top of the arm, yes. And into the wrist. Awesome. And what I'm gonna get you to do, Jason, is I'm going to get you to just really quickly flip your hand the other way. So your fingers are reaching for the sky. Perfect. Nice work. All right, now we're going to bring our arm up to shoulder level. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to fingers down. Now, do you feel this differently, activating into the bicep area?
Yeah.
Okay. So keeping the arm up at shoulder level. Don't need to bring it behind you, it's just coming straight up. And we're going to bring our fingers up to the sky. Okay, so this stretch is getting into that upper arm as well. Yes? Good. Awesome. For the last one, Jason, I'm going to get you to go behind your back and try to raise those fingers up with your palm facing downwards. Perfect. Doesn't have to be very far behind your back, but you should feel that in the upper area of your arm into the tricep. Yes? Awesome. I'm going to hold that. So again, if you wanted to go deeper into these, you could, but if you're feeling a really good solid stretch where you're at, there's really no need to, right? The entire purpose of stretching is to push your body to its range of motion. If you're feeling resistance, then you're probably there, right? You can take yourself deeper if you're doing flexibility training and stuff. Like again, as long as you're not injuring yourself, it's okay. But for our purposes, this is completely appropriate. You can drop it. I was actually just going to leave you there the whole time like that.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. You're welcome. So that takes us into actually moving past our lengthening stage. We just did the lengthening stage with our fun little stretches, and into our isolation stage. So that's going to take us out on the gym floor. Gym floor is super busy tonight, and so we'll do the best that we can. And yeah, we've got isolation and then integration left to go. And we will get that tennis elbow nice and corrected for you so that you don't injure it next time you go and play a rousing round of tennis.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
All right, so I'm here with Jason. We are going to be going through a couple of the isolation exercises first to target those underactive muscles that we need to strengthen a little bit. Okay, so we'll be doing some really traditional stuff, but we will be doing it with a different purpose a little bit. Okay, so we'll be looking at some bicep curls and tricep work. We're going to do 10 reps. And we would have you doing it for 2 sets. In this case, we're going to do 1 set of each movement. We're going to pause it in between each video just because we have to readjust the cable. So that'll give you a chance to rest as well. And it's really loud in the gym. We've checked. There's nowhere else, unfortunately, for us to work. And so I can shake my angry old lady fist and tell them to turn down the music, but we'll do the best that we can. Okay? So the first one we're going to work with Jason is just a basic bicep curl or an elbow extension to flexion. Okay, so what I want to see from you is really nice, strong, neutral body. Right shoulder is back, head is high, chest is up. Thank you. And you're going to start with a nice, strong, extended arm. Okay, and you're going to bring it right up and back down. Again, holding that strong back and keeping your head nice and high. Okay? So I'd like to see 10 of those. We've got this at a nice relative weight for you, so let's give that a try. Okay, so we're going to start in a full extended position. Bring it down a little bit. And you can step a little bit closer to the cable if you need to. All right, when you're ready, please. And so we're extending all the way down to the end of the range of motion, bringing the elbow back down towards the knees. straight line of the leg, okay? Excellent. Head up. Good work. We're going to do 2 more, Jason. And how does that feel? Excellent. All right, so we'll pause the video while we change the cable. All right, Jason, so we are moving on to the second of the isolation activities. This time we're going to have the elbow flexion happening, but with the shoulder flex as well. Okay, so you're going to be starting. We want the arms to be probably at about shoulder height, okay, maybe a little bit lower, but we don't want it super low or super above. Okay, so we've got it set at about the right position for you. You're going to keep that neutral alignment, and you're just going to bring that cable straight back. Okay, all the way back, and then all the way back to the start right here. Okay. Keeping that arm nice and high, head high, and scapular retracted the whole time. Good. So we're going for 10 for this as well. Don't forget to breathe. Nice work, Jason. Think you're halfway there. And last one. Awesome. Good work. How'd that feel? Good. Awesome. All right, let's pause the video again and we'll move the camera. All right, moving on again, still staying in those isolation exercises. We're going to be doing a bit of a reverse curl here, okay? So the idea is going to be that you're starting in that elbow flex position with that neutral shoulder, and you're going to extend it downwards, getting into those triceps. This is similar to tricep pushdowns that you would have done in some of our exercises, okay? So we're going to grab it nice and tall. Again, all of those fun things apply about your strong posture and back, and we're just going to take it down. And we're going for 10. Okay? We're going to feel that when you're in the tricep. Let me know if you need to adjust the weight on it, okay? Head up. Good. Last one. Good job. It's tiring by the end, eh? Tricep is a really small muscle that does lots at the beginning, right? It's got lots of good original power, but it starts to fatigue out pretty quickly. So, all right, we've got one more in this group to do. We will pause this one more time. Bye, everybody. All right, so last isolation exercise for you will be an elbow extension with a shoulder flexion. So for this one, we're going to turn around. Okay, and we are going to be, so you're using the same arm, we're just facing away from the camera this time. And the idea is that you're starting from that flex position and just straightening your elbow, right? But your shoulder is flexed as well, so your arm is going to be nice and high, right? Ending at about shoulder level. And controlling the movement throughout. Same rules apply to your posture. And we're going for 10. Tuck in. There we go. Good. Excellent. One more. No rocking the body over. Got all your punching out. Good work. All right, let's release it. We're going to move into some integration work now. And so we'll pause the video, set ourselves up for that. Okay? Great. All right, Jason, so we're moving on to the last section of our continuum. Again, still very loud, so we're leaning in a little bit for our video conversations. What we're going to be doing is a standing lat pull down. So you've done the lat pull down seated before, right? Same idea, but in this case we're going to stand up. We're going to use the cable, so we've got the weight properly adjusted for you, and you're going to hold kind of a bit of a half squat, right? So the body positioning is still going to be strong in that neutral back, right? We want the chest high, we want the scapula retracted. We're going to bend at the knees just a little bit, okay? So you don't have to go all the way down into a squat, but I don't want any sort of hip hinge here. And I don't want you to lock your knees and lock your hips in. I want it to have a bit of a bend in the knees, really strong in the arms and back. Okay? So once you find that position, we are going to pull back, and you're really pulling the handles towards your shoulders, which means your elbows are going to come back, right? It's going to squeeze the scapula in together, kind of like you were trying to squeeze a pencil and hold it in, okay? So I want to do that pull. We're going to hold it here for a few seconds, and then we're going to slowly release it back. It's going to look like this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any questions or concerns about that at all? All right, let's try that one out then. Okay, so more of a bend in the knees for me, Jason? Right there, perfect. So let's bring it right up into the high part of the knee. Good. Really bring that scapula back. Try and squeeze it around like that. There we go. That's what I want to see. You're really bringing it back and squeezing. There we go. Excellent. Again, we're squeezing up here, so cutting it into the back and bringing the scapula together. Good. 4 more. Last one, squeezing tight, 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 tight. Go and relax. You feel that? Yeah? Definitely hitting into that upper area of the lats, right? Excellent. Okay.
If you want
Let's
abs.
move on.